Hello everyone, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Abe.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Jay.
I'm Josh too.
Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here. And today I'm going to be reviewing Disney Pixar's Cars from 2006.
In this world, it takes all kinds.
I'm a precision instrument of speed and aerodynamics.
You hurt your what? My name's Major, like Terminator, but without the tuck.
Holy Portia. Ow, 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 ow.
From the creators of Finding Nemo and The Incredibles.
Oh, yeah.
How about some organic fuel?
Take a car watch, hippie.
Disney presents a Pixar film,
A real race car.
Cars, rated G, in theaters June 9th.
Love me.
Cars stars Owen Wilson, Paul Newman, Bonnie Hunt, Larry the Cable Guy, and it's directed by John Lasseter. The plot of Cars is that hotshot race car Lightning McQueen, voiced by Owen Wilson, is living life in the fast lane until he hits a detour and gets stranded in Radiator Springs, a forgotten town on Route 66. There he meets Sally, Mater, Doc Hudson, portrayed by Paul Newman, and a heap of characters who help him discover there's more to life than trophies and fame. What are my positives with Cars? Honestly, for me, I will give the film credit. The animation isn't that bad, actually. I think compared to something like A Bug's Life, the animation is a step up, and, like, the environmental stuff is beautiful. I mean, if you look at all the environment stuff, it looks photorealistic, and it looks beautiful, actually. I think they got stuff like, the whole Route 66 environment down pat, so I admire all that. That must have taken a lot of time for these animators. Also, I do like the fact that, they give certain details to certain cars, for the most part, like some of the characters who are cars, like, if they're a race car, they're really shiny and that, and I kind of liked, even just how it looked in that regard. Knowing that there's a lot of bright colors in that, which is stuff I'm sure kids would like. Also, the acting wasn't that bad in this either. Now, it's not like they gave us an outstanding performance or anything, but, compared to other, compared to, like, especially the worst of the worst films I've seen, it's not that bad. I could tell they're trying, actually. And honestly, for me, that's it with the positives. What are my negatives with Cars? Honestly, for me, one of the biggest negatives is that, like, first of all, I felt the manipulation of the film. It felt like it was trying to manipulate you to feel an emotion and that, when really it didn't like, the script and everything didn't really, had a strong enough story, whatnot, to really get you feeling emotionally invested into the story and characters. And knowing that, it's like, it basically has most, if not all, sports movie cliches rolled up into one, except the only real different thing they're doing here is that the characters are cars instead of humans. And for me, like, that's also a problem too, like, the fact that these characters are cars instead of humans, because of the way they're designed in that, like, the way cars are designed in that, and just, they basically put, like, a mouth in front of, the hood of car, and have the windows become eyes, and it really, there's a separation to where you really can't necessarily get any emotional expression in that, at least not natural ones. And I think that, this movie would have been a little bit better if instead of having the cars be, like, instead of having the characters be cars, why not have them be human characters? Like, driving cars and that. It could be a race car movie, but with human characters. Especially since the year before they had The Incredibles come out, and that's the first time Pixar really got down pat human characters. And, when rewatching this film, I felt like it was kind of really much of a step, like it was really like them going backwards, and it's kind of a downgrade of a film, and yeah, it kind of shows. Now, thankfully, they kind of moved past it a bit, a year later with Ratatouille. Like, if you want to know my thoughts on Ratatouille, go check out my review of it. They got down pat human characters in Ratatouille again. And, again, The Incredibles came out in 2005. This came out, Ratatouille came out in 2007. This came out in between the 2005 and 2007, so 2006. And they so could have easily done human characters in this. And at least I would have been able to get that somewhat emotional attachment to the characters, maybe. And, knowing that all the characters are stock characters, like you got, you got Sally, who's this, bland, generic, romantic interest for our main lead, Lightning McQueen, and, Lightning McQueen is, the stereotypical, famous sports star who, only thinks about himself and that, but through hard work and all that stuff, eventually he learns to appreciate hard work and, learns from his mistakes and that. And of course you got, Mater, who's a typical, stereotypical hillbilly character, except the only difference is he's a car. Also, the music here isn't really that interesting. To me, it really is it's basically like they took music from other Pixar movies and just made it seem, less interesting for the music. The music in this film seems like it's basically, royalty-free music of, basically that, but it's similar to music in the other Pixar films. I've noticed some of the music is from what you hear in Monsters, Inc. and all that, and just several other films. And it's just not original or anything like that, and the music is not that, I can't even remember any orchestrational bits of this music. But honestly, for me, those are my only negatives I have with this film, and there's a lot of negatives I have. So let's get on to my rating. So I'm going to give Disney Pixar's Cars a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Honestly, for me, it's not one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's definitely not up there with Son of the Mask or anything like that. But especially when you compare this to Pixar's other films, both in the past and before, it is one of the weaker Pixar movies. Although I will say, it is a step up. I do like it a little bit better than A Bug's Life. It seemed like with this one they tried a bit more than A Bug's Life. And the one thing I would say that, kind of makes sense of all of this is that, Cars is directed by the same person who did A Bug's Life, and that's John Lasseter. And yeah, so that really explains it. And I will say he did a little bit of a better job with Cars than he did with A Bug's Life in a sense. But still, I think Cars suffered a lot of the same issues that, A Bug's Life did, plus also additional issues. And honestly, it's just not my type of film. Honestly, I'm not much of a sports guy in general. I like playing sports. I just don't like watching sports movies necessarily. I mean, it had to be a pretty damn good sports movie for me to, watch it. And this is definitely not one, so. But, I mean, there's nothing really offensive in this movie that kids, wouldn't be able to watch or anything, or wouldn't like. I could see maybe why kids would like this, but I don't know. If you're someone like me and you want to show your kids a Pixar movie, show them something like Ratatouille instead, or something like that, than over this. Because at least Ratatouille was a smartly written film compared to this. So that's it for this review. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.